Live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV 152. This is News Desk with me, Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson. On our desk this morning, as 294 acres of land is destroyed by illegal mining activities in the Asutifi North district of the Ahafo region, controversy deepens in the NAIMOS Attack case as police insist they have evidence implicating the MP for Asutifi North, but the legislator maintains he was only at the scene to calm tensions.
We are hearing talks about MP suspension. I think that is a little bit against the rules of fair trial.
Well, we have details as the MP is expected to respond to a CID investigation invitation over the incident. Also coming up, Lightwave-MOH Care Solutions pushes back against allegations by Health Minister Kwaku Addo, dismissing the minister's claims as false and misleading, insisting that Ghana's medical data is not being hosted abroad.
So that is in simple terms, if I put it, the data sits at the ministry.
More as they insist majority of work under its $100 million contract has been delivered. Also coming up this morning, Education Ministry moves to amend Ghana Tertiary Education Commission Act to allow universities more than 6 years to acquire a presidential charter.
Standards will not be compromised, but I think that we should allow them time and space to justify their expenditure and the training they are providing.
Also, Public Accounts Committee refers 12 entities, including the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital and Ridge Hospitals, for prosecution for disobeying the committee's order to fully recover amounts captured in various infractions in the Auditor General's report within 30 days.
Komfo-Anokye, you have on end salary of 3 million and you will not respond or get anything. Maybe they would like to enjoy sitting in court, but I will recommend all of them for prosecution.
Well, we'll tell you which other entities are involved. Now the stage is set, the tension is thick, and history is about to be rewritten as Infantipim School, St. Augustine's College and Opoku-Ware book slots in the finale of the National Science and Math Quiz.
We are trying to tell them that they should force. They are fighting with us. We want you to get some marks, so be happy. But yeah, those are just the trials.
We'll be right back with details of these stories and more. Please stay. Now, contradictions continue to emerge in the evolving NAIMOS Attack case. The Ghana Police Service says it has credible evidence linking Asutifi North MP Ebenezer Kwaku Addo to the disturbances. But the MP's legal team insists he did nothing wrong, arguing he was present only to help restore order, not to fuel violence. Police say they have arrested multiple suspects and retrieved a Smith & Wesson pistol, ammunition, 2 pistol magazines, an unregistered Range Rover, an unregistered Toyota RAV4, and several mobile phones from the scene. Now let's bring in my colleague Erastus Asare Donko for more context on this. Erastus, thank you for joining us this morning. Exactly what do we know about the MP's involvement in all of this?
Well, so what we know is that the NAIMOS arrest at that particular scene would have been without any drama, any chaos, if the MP had not gone there with over 20 heavily built men. Because when they went there, NAIMOS had already arrested the people, put them in handcuffs. They were on their way to put them in police custody at Hwidiem. That was the plan. Until the MP showed up at the scene with over 20 men and asked them to release them. So it was the back and forth that started the agitation at the site before NAIMOS personnel decided to whisk them away to the nearest police station. The MP and his boys also followed them to the police station. And there again, When you speak with the police, they will tell you that the MP still requested that the people be released. And those demands are what emboldened more people to storm the place and demand that the people be released before they leave. And finally, they got them released before the MP left the police station. And so it will be inaccurate for the MP to say that he was passing by for a funeral and then he heard the commotion and he went to the site. There was no commotion before he and his boys went to the site. It was just NAIMOS and their personnel conducting their normal duties as they do. And there would have been no chaos if he had not gone there to intervene.
So, Erastus, could we link those who were arrested to this MP, or he just came there with the number of people you're talking about, the 20 other guys he came with?
So I will not be able to say whether the activity at the site was linked to the MP or Collins Dauda or not. But I'm only speaking to the events that occurred that degenerated into chaos at the police station as well. And that is what I'm referring to, that he took his men to the place to demand the release of the suspects, subsequently calling Collins Dauda on phone and saying that he's the one who sent them to come there. And per the commander's account on the phone, Collins Dauda also repeated the same, that he wants the people to be released. And when that did not happen, that is when they followed them to the police station and drew more crowds, because he may not have called people to come to the police station, but his presence and that of the boys who followed him to the site drew agitated crowds to the police station who got emboldened that they will have to demand the release of their people or else they were not leaving the place. And that led to all the vandalism that we saw.
Okay. So is the police also looking into this allegation of Collins Dauda, making this comments about the suspects being released?
Well, I'm not sure. I know that the police is investigating, and definitely it will cut across all that, but I'm not privy to what they are investigating currently. I know that the NAIMOS commander, Colonel Boa, has filed his statement with the National CID. Today, his men, the soldiers who were with him, are also expected to file their statements as well with the National CID, and then investigations will continue.
Right. And you said the suspects arrested have been released?
Yes, they were released the same day, and that is what, according to my investigations, calmed tensions before the MP and his people left the police station.
All right, Erastus, thank you for that update. Now, the MP's lawyer, Kwesi Jemfi-Bwedu, has criticized public calls for the suspension or his suspension, arguing they undermine the principle of fair hearing.
Fair trial does not just go by way of just getting up to just suspend parties. It takes time. It takes due process. If you would see our letters that we've addressed to the IGP, you'd realize that we've stated that we are ever ready to assist with police investigations. So if we are hearing talks about MP suspension, I think that is a little bit against the rules of fair trial. So it's very interesting that some proponents are putting out there that he went in there to seize, he brought in mob action and a whole lot of things. That's never happened. And that is why we are ready to actually assist the police with investigations.
In the meantime, environmental advocacy group Eco-Conscious Citizens is calling for the MP's immediate suspension, saying it is deeply troubling that he remains in office while under investigation. Here's Coordinator Awula Sewa.
Well, the purpose of investigations is always to ascertain the veracity of the information that has been given. And it just shows the dire situation we find ourselves in, where NAIMOS can be attacked by persons who should know better. But yes, everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and we look to finding out what actually happened. But I'm sort of disappointed that as at now, the MPs have not yet been suspended. And we are very concerned about what appears to be selective justice.
Moving on, Lightwave eHealthcare Solutions Limited, the lead company behind Ghana's national eHealthcare program, has strongly refuted claims made by the Minister of Health, Ebenezer Kwaku Addo, regarding the operations of Lightwave Health Information Management System, describing them as false and misleading. Addressing the minister's claim that Ghanaians' electronic medical data is being managed from India, Lightwave emphatically rejected the assertion. The company clarified that the Ministry of Health maintains full ownership and control of all patient data, which is securely stored in a centralized data repository in Accra, not outside the country, responding to allegations that it had completed less than 50% of its contractual obligations despite receiving 77% of the $100 million contract sum. Lightwave stated that the figures had been grossly misinterpreted.
Has their own data, and we trainer of trainers, and these people are like the first line of support when you go to the facilities, and they have access to the servers that they have in their facilities, and same the ministry. So I don't know how it comes back to say that we don't have data, we don't have access to the data. If we are able to know what is the meaning of that data they are looking for, because the data can be sitting there. If there is a system that runs the data, and you are talking of that system is Lightwave intellectual property. So I don't know at which point the minister says they don't have access to the data, what he means.
These people you have trained.
Yeah.
Today, if I go to one of these hospitals and ask them to access the system and find my records, because I've been a patient there,
yeah,
they will be able to do it.
They should be able to do. And in fact, they do it. They print it, they send emails.
Okay.
Yes, within this year.
Because the accusation is that since September, since some meeting between your company and the ministry went badly, since then, you've kind of locked them out of the system and they can no longer access the data.
Kojo, if your media team would go to any hospital that is running, any hospital, and you ask them to give you, that is using the Lightwave and they are working, and ask them to give you your medical records, and they tell you they are unable to, let us know, because it's there, they do it every time. So I don't know which data the minister refers to. If it is about the source code, which came up in the meeting we had on September 3rd, that is Lightwave intellectual property. It does not belong to the ministry or the government of Ghana. But the data that the system used, the data that the system used in collecting, that data is for the ministry and for the government of Ghana.
So what is this about source code? What came up during the meeting about source code?
Yes, in the meeting, they wanted the back end into the system. And if you are talking of the back end and you come and say you want the source code, meaning if you push Lightwave out with that information or that source code that you have, you'll be able to deploy the Lightwave system in other facilities. But that is not part of the ministry's agreement that we signed with them.
So what you are saying is that in this meeting in September, the government wanted you to hand over your intellectual property to them.
Yes.
So that they would have control over the software you've created, and you refused.
Yes. And prior to that, I think they have had engagements internally at the ministry with other agencies that we were unaware. As I had indicated earlier, we've sought for audience and we have not received any. Now, when the minister asks, okay, we are in the meeting, can you tell Lightwave? You said you don't have access. Tell them what it is. You have not been trained. And I told the minister, with all due respect, we have trained all regional and health information officers. in the country for Ghana Health Service and for the Christian Health Association, Ghana. That's the CHAG. The Ghana Health Service one was done, the northern sector for the Ghana Health Service was done in Atamale Teaching Hospital. And then the southern sector was done in Ashanti Region, Konfanochi Hospital. The CHAG also engaged, we engaged them, and we did one for CHAG in Bono Region, Sunyane to be precise. So, and in all these, we have the ministry representatives and representatives from the Ghana Health Service. So it will be surprising for someone. So I just told him that it will be surprising for anybody seated in that room to tell us we have not trained them. They came back that they want access to the back end. And I told them no. That is like you requesting for what is not part of the agreement we have with the ministry. So whatever we've trained you, if today, the hospitals that we have deployed, if an NGO comes and says, we are giving you 100 beds, you don't need Lightwave to set up those 100 beds in the system. If the government builds a new, or an agency come and build you a new building, you don't need Lightwave to come and put that building on the system for you. We have trained your users to be able to do this work. They only come to us when they feel they don't have the capacity. They haven't built capacity enough to do it. However, in trainings, which they will confirm, we go through all this with the facilities.
Moving on, the Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has indicated that he is ready to amend the Ghana Education Tertiary Commission Act 1023, to allow more time for tertiary universities to acquire a presidential charter. GTEC, in February 2024, gave a 6-month ultimatum to all universities, especially the private universities, to get chartered or risk shutdown. Appearing before the Public Accounts Committee, the Education Minister first indicated that he's taking steps to amend the GTEC Act to give the schools more time to do the needful. James Savaji has more.
GTEC Act, every university which wants to operate under autonomy and issue its own certificate will have to acquire a presidential charter within 4 to 6 years of establishment and operation. In the absence of these, they are required to affiliate with universities with charter to issue certificates in the name of those universities. But as of last year, GTEC revealed that 77 universities failed to acquire the charter, hence the threat to shut them down. Responding to queries at the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament, the Education Minister Haruna Idrisu said he is taking steps to review the Act to extend the 4 to 6 years mandatory period.
Government is reviewing that position, and there may be a policy review of it to extend the moratorium, but certainly not to perpetuity. But we would give them some space of time. Chairman, noting that not every qualified Ghanaian student has the opportunity to be admitted into a public tertiary institution, they will be in denial if we were to be high-handed in terms of the regulation. But that's what the law requires him to do. So I may seek a review of the law in order that we extend the period of the charter and then learn from best practice. What happens in Australia, what happens in the US or UK? How are those private institutions able to cope with the public tertiary institutions?
He said the threat of shutdown, if carried out, would do Ghana's educational system more harm than good, raising he's exploring more options to deal with the matter without compromising on quality.
If we did that, apart from the students who will be affected, Ghanaians in the private sector who are investing in private tertiary education, that will be a disincentive to them.
Joining us, Dr. Peter Anti is Executive Director of the Institute of Education Studies and has joined us via Zoom for more on this. Mr. Anti, where do you stand on this? Does some more lifeline be given to the universities to stay in operation while working on acquiring a presidential charter? Where do you stand on this?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. Well, I think the minister is faced with two options. One, to either enforce the charter and then shut down universities that are not able to reach the set standards, or to give them the opportunity to upgrade within a specific reasonable period so that they will be able to reach the set standard. And I think that is going for the option that is more progressive, because what we have to understand is that these private universities do not operate in a vacuum. They provide an essential service. As a country, we have decided that within the next 4 to 5 years, we should be able to improve our tertiary enrollment rate to a level that is around 40%. How do we do that? The public universities alone will not be able to achieve that. And that is why you need the private sector to support that, especially in an era where you are doing free senior high school and a lot of your students are likely to access secondary education. And after that, they will need to enter these tertiary institutions, the universities, and so on and so forth. So it is just good and for the ministry to think outside the box and give room for universities that have not been able to meet the set standards that have been set by GTEC. But what I want to add further is that the university the ministry should not just give them the opportunity to, increase the years, but they should also provide them with the needed assistance and a clear pathway that would enable them get the needed resources and then everything that they need to be able to meet that standard. So it's not just a matter of giving them the opportunity to upgrade, but also they should support them in all possible ways to be able to get to that standard that they are supposed to.
What then is the essence of the charter if they can be churning out students and awarding certificates without it? How then can we ensure quality?
No, I don't think that they are going to be without a charter. What the minister is suggesting, what I think is that he's going to give them additional years to be able to meet the set standard that GTEC needs in order that they will be provided with that particular charter. And in that perspective, it means that there's going to be continuous monitoring and supervision to ensure that the kind of education that is being provided within these private universities are of a certain level. The point is that they might not be able to reach the set standard within the year or the time frame that has been given. And that is why I think the ministry should go beyond the West and also support them in any way possible to be able to get to that level that they are required to get to.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Peter Enti, for that. Let's stay in Parliament because the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has referred 12 entities to the Attorney General for prosecution for disobeying the committee's directive to fully recover amounts captured in various infractions in the Auditor General's report. The entities include the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, Ridge Hospital, and others. Out of 13 institutions directed to retrieve the funds captured in these infractions, Assistant Auditor General at the Ghana Audit Service, Michael Addo, has told the committee that only one, the Achimota Hospital, has retrieved the amounts in full.
In respect of Achimota Hospital, they had unsupported payments to the tune of 62,360, and they were given 48 hours to provide the supporting documents. As we speak, they have done so. The documents have been provided, and we have verified them. Then there was an issue of payment of unearned salaries to the tune of 3,588,050 cedis. That infraction was cited in the name of Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. They were given 30 days to provide documents as to the existence of these staff. But as we speak, that evidence is yet to be provided. Kwewu Afram Plains North District Education Service, wrongful payment of physically challenged transport allowance, 17,703. That is also pending. They have not recovered the amount. The last one has to do with a Greater Accra Regional Hospital, that is the Ridge Hospital. The issue had to do with rejected claims. and the amount was 1,293,090 cedis. So that is the state of these issues.
Ranking member of the Public Accounts Committee, Samuel Atta Mills, has since directed that all the 12 defaulting entities must be prosecuted.
Those who hadn't completed their assignment in 30 days, did any of them consult you on it? Did they come back to you on why they hadn't done it? Perfect. All right. I would recommend those people who haven't responded or done it within 30 days. I'll recommend all of them to the Attorney General for prosecution. It's just that simple. Confanoche, you have on end salary of 3 million and you will not respond or get anything. Regional Health, is it Aguna East, Tier 2 contributions. You haven't responded. Amansi South. All these people, we are recommending them for prosecution. And it's just that simple. We'll wait on those who have 60 days and 90 days. Maybe they would like to enjoy sitting in court, but I'll recommend all of them for prosecution.
Investigative journalist Manasseh Azuri is raising concerns over what he believes is growing tension between the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Attorney General's Department, a situation he fears could affect key corruption cases. Manasseh says the strained relationship between the two state institutions appear to be slowing efforts to extradite former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to face corruption-related allegations. His comments follow a recent press briefing at the Jubilee House, where the Attorney General expressed frustration over what he described as delays from the OSP in facilitating the extradition process. That statement contradicted remarks from the OSP's Director of Strategy and Communications, Samedako, who denied any rift between the two entities. But Manasseh Azuri insists there is more beneath the surface, urging both offices to put differences aside and fast-track pending corruption-related cases involving the state. He made the remarks on Prime Insights with Blessed Soga.
If you read pages 157 and 158 of the KPMG audit, it clearly states how revenue or volumes increased or were recorded, and in that equation, you don't find SML featuring any positively. In fact, in terms of volumes, the KPMG report said SML recorded the least volumes. So this is a company that was brought in, has been paid over 1.4 billion Ghana cedis. Wow. We did not see any value. But for this investigation, Ken Ofori-Atta had masterminded another contract, the expansion of the contract, that would have ensured that SML would go away with over 500 million United States dollars. These are facts, and if you look at the report we published, we have letters from the Office of the Finance Minister written by Ernest Akori on behalf of Ken Ofori-Atta. And mind you, Ernest Akori and Ken Ofori-Atta are both fugitives of justice. They are at large. I have been doing investigations for many years now. I must say I've never lost a defamation case. I know and value people's reputation. So if I say Ken Ofori-Atta masterminded that outrageous contract, I'm speaking based on facts. And these are verifiable facts. There are letters to show, and the OSP is even giving more evidence of that.
Germany has pledged over 65 million euros to Ghana this year within the framework of its development cooperation. The announcement was made by German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, who is on a 3-day visit to Ghana. Speaking at a joint press conference with Ghana's President John Mahama, President Steinmeier said the support, equivalent to over 823 million Ghana cedis, will be directed towards agreed development priorities, with details expected to be finalized later this month. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
There was a resplendent display of Ghanaian culture on day 2 of the German president's state visit to Ghana, featuring a full military guard of honor, bilateral talks, a joint press conference, and a state luncheon at the Jubilee House. The president of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, announced that subject to the approval of the German parliament, Germany will support Ghana this year with more than 65 million euros in development cooperation.
And I'm happy to say that today we've also been able to bring good news, good tidings, that of course pending on the approval of the German parliament, the Bundestag that is, Germany will again commit more than 65 million euro to Ghana in the framework of our development cooperation, which equals more than 823 million Ghana CD. The details will be negotiated before the end of this month.
Both presidents expressed concern about the growing threat of violent extremism in the Sahel region. President John Mahama revealed he is pushing for a new regional security platform that will bring the AES states on board in the fight against terrorism.
The Accra Initiative was set up as a platform for our joint fight against violent extremism in the West African sub-region. Unfortunately, currently, the AES states are not participating in the Accra Initiative. And so what I've been engaged with is seeking a new platform that can bring them on board, because the fight is not theirs alone. It's a sub-regional fight, because violent extremism is like a cancer. It continues to grow and spread. And so currently we have discussions. I was in Mali a week ago to discuss the issue of a joint platform where we can collaborate to help them, and the international community can assist in the joint fight against violent extremism.
President Frank-Walter Steinmeier said Germany, together with the European Union, is supporting Ghana's efforts to promote long-term stability and development in the Sahel. President Mahama also reiterated his call for Africa to have a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council, arguing that global governance cannot be fair or credible without Africa's full representation.
Regarding Africa's representation in global governance, Ghana continues its long-standing and legitimate demand for Africa's permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. Africa, with 54 countries and over 1.4 billion people, remains the only inhabited continent in this world without a permanent representation on the world's most influential decision-making body. This historical injustice must be corrected.
He further urged nations to resist the lure of economic nationalism and instead work together to reform, not dismantle, the global institutions that unite the world.
Ghana is deeply concerned about recent actions that jeopardize the rule-based international order, especially the global trade system that has supported decades of prosperity and development around the world. The dismantling of established multilateral frameworks and the rise of unilateral protectionism, threaten to plunge the world into economic instability, greater inequality, and conflict. I invite Germany to share Ghana's strong commitment to multilateralism.
The moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Dr. Abraham Nana Opare Kwachi, has called on chiefs to be bold and make their voices heard on social transformational issues, especially the Galamsey Menace. At the inauguration of the Brongahafo Presbytery Nananom Fellowship at the Ebenezer congregation in Sunyani, he said that as custodians of the land, the chiefs have a say in activities on the land and must stand up to complement efforts to end the destruction of the land. Precious Semevo has more.
In the past, chiefs were considered hidden in relation to Christianity, but the narrative has changed, blending tradition and Christianity, as the Brongahafo Presbytery inaugurated the Nananom Fellowship at the Ebenezer congregation in Sunyani. The fellowship comprises chiefs who are Presbyterians and are also in traditional leadership, brought together to fellowship and serve in Christ. The colorful event has been described as a move ordained by God. Reverend Benjamin Appiah is the BA Presbytery chairperson.
We have brought Nananum together so that together we shall seek the Lord. Together we shall work in his vineyard. Together we will showcase that our elevation is not mere coincidence, but it has come at a time that through that we shall serve our communities in dignity because we have Christ in us.
Following this, the chief of Sunyai, or therefore Jiaman Sanboahinkoko II, highlighted how the chief's fellowship could drive development. I believe this fellowship, initiated by the chairperson, will unite chiefs in the communities, and without that, the region will be deprived of the desired development. The moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Dr. Abraham Nanao Parekwache, said that beyond the chieftaincy institutions, chiefs should seek to transform their hearts and communities. He urged them to use their esteemed positions to help win the fight against illegal mining.
Today, we are welcoming our chiefs to church and hoping that as a result of this, we will begin to see transformation in our communities. Chiefs are leaders. Chiefs are agents of transformation in the communities. And especially today in this service, we have encouraged our chiefs to make their voices heard on issues of social transformation. One key one being the issue of Galamsey. The chiefs are the people who own the lands. They are the ones who control the communities. They can say that they would not allow Galamsey. And we are hoping that as they share with other chiefs all over the country, or kings or queen mothers, voices will be amplified so that the fight against Galamsey will become successful. The president has begun something, but whether he can succeed depends on the contribution of all stakeholders, and chiefs as well as the churches play very significant roles.
Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunya.
Positive Gospel International Church marks 24 years of ministry. A journey that began humbly in a small hair salon has grown into a thriving global mission. Founder of the church, Reverend Dr. Frank Odoi-Sarkodie, says the ministry was born with a vision to win souls for Christ and spread the gospel across nations. There's more in the following report.
From a humble beginning in a makeshift hair salon to a 7,000 capacity auditorium, that's the story of Positive Gospel International Church, a journey inspired by faith, sustained through resilience, and impacted by divine grace. As the church marked its 24 years of ministry, its founder and general overseer, Reverend Dr. Frank Odoi-Sarkodie, says the vision has always been clear: to win souls for Christ and spread the gospel across nations.
My vision for establishing Positive Gospel International Church, formerly Positive Gospel, Positive Faith Ministry, is simple, to win more souls for Christ. 1 Thessalonians 5:24, that faithful is who has called us, and he also will do it. God has been so good, faithful to us from the day one we started this church. He has been with us, and he is still leading us to our better destination.
Known for its compassion and outreach, the ministry has become a pillar of support for widows, the elderly.
When you come here, we don't segregate the poor or the rich. We come as a family, and we come to serve God as it is. And there's nothing like this person is being treated special or treated otherwise.
Members describe Positive Gospel International Church as a family, one that welcomes all, regardless of background or status.
What I can say is that this is a church that I feel is my dwelling place.
The leadership of this church have exhibited exceeding levels of compassion for the people in the church. And so most of our outreach has been to do good to the people.
Looking ahead, Reverend Dr. Sarkodie says the next 2 decades will focus on leadership development, evangelism, and global missions.
I want to see more people accepting Jesus as their Lord and personal Savior. I want to see more people knowing Christ, not just going to church. But how can we do this? By training people more. We need to train more men. We need to train more women. Those who are eager to do the work. We need to train them so that we can go up from north, east, west, south. We need to share across.
After 24 years of grace, the mission remains unchanged: to win souls, transform lives, and stand as a beacon of faith for generations to come.
The stage is set, the tension is thick, and history is about to be rewritten. 3 of Ghana's most formidable schools, St. Augustine's College, Infantipim School and Opokuwari School, have advanced to the grand finale of the National Science and Math Quiz after weeks of intense competition and dramatic turnarounds.
Which explains why climate change brings about a rise in the sea level.
What a comprehensive answer. Well done.
Each school brings a story that has captured the attention of fans across the country. St. Augustine's College, known for their calm precision, made a strong statement early on, silencing critics who doubted their consistency.
At first, we are trying to tell them that they should force. They are fighting with us. We want you to get some marks, so be happy. But yeah, those are just the trials.
But you were not leading in round 2.
Oh, that's what I said. You see, we are just telling them to get some points, so be happy. We can't let them be sad like that. So they have to get maybe 2 points, 3 points, so they'll be happy. But Thursday, but you let them wait for us. We are coming with 4 youth. We are coming. Tell them that we are coming.
It was very, very easy, to be fair. I think for the first 3 rounds, Pope just made it really tough for us. We were scared, but we trusted our boys. We made a substitution after the round. Okay, we're not scared. We made a sub after the round 2. Ajawo came, spaceman. He came in and he just made a difference. Pope just thought they were going to him, but no. Today is our day. God did.
Infantipim School, the defending champions, have battled through fierce contests to keep their dream of back-to-back titles alive.
With us from the very, very onset, and then it was shown today as well. He really was with us. He really helped us, even as the contest was getting tough. And then at the end, we came out as the winners. So we are just really grateful that we have won, and then we hope that the same thing will happen in the final again. So we'll be able to defend the trophy successfully.
And the Opokuwari Senior High School, after a flawless semi-final performance, have proven that persistence and teamwork still pay off. The final showdown will test wit, speed, and composure as all 3 schools aim not just for one trophy, but for glory that will echo through their halls for years. For Joy News, Adobe Asari.
You're still watching Joy News Desk. We'll be back with business.
Hi, welcome to business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Kweuman Rural Bank PLC is assuring shareholders of at least 30 million cedis in profit by the close of the current financial year. This comes after the bank recorded a profit before tax of over 24.5 million cedis from 4.7 million cedis recorded in 2023, representing a 420% increase in profit. Speaking at the 32nd Annual General Meeting of the bank, Board Chairman Dr. Alexander Adumaku-Mensah attributed the gains to an increased deposit mobilization drive. Nanaya Aljima has more in the following report.
The bank's deposits grew by 45%, driven by improved products and services introduced by the management. For the performance, an amount of 900,590 cedis was paid as dividends to shareholders. In the year under review, total revenue grew by 63.64%. The bank's balance sheet remains strong. Board Chairman Dr. Alexander Adumaku-Mensah explained the gains.
A certain amount of deposit must be put on treasury bill. So 155 million was put on the treasury bill and lock it. So that when you lock it, from January to December, when there's any change of this one, it won't affect us. So that one worked for us for the 2024. That's 2023. So 2024, we continue like this, by increasing that one to 266 billion on the treasury bill alone, and locking up to December, so that we can get, and that one worked for us. So we had more interest on treasury bill, and then the loan too was working very fast for us because we picked the quality loans from different angles. And then what I would say that it's not me alone. Our staff did very well, good job, because aggressive mobilization, they were doing it.
In 2022, the bank set a target to increase capital by 5.1 million cedis in 3 years. By the close of the 2024 financial year, over 1.7 million cedis was recorded in new shares purchased. CEO of the bank, Evans Safo-Kantanka, explains the necessary measures are being adopted to meet targets set.
Your ability to generate more income depends on how much you mobilize as a deposit liability. And so if you look at our figures critically, you realize that the bank is generating a lot of deposits, and that makes it get surplus funds to give out there as loans. And we have a system whereby we monitor our loans very well.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumewu.
In other news, the Design and Technology Institute, DTI, has commissioned Africa's first American Welding Society certified welder training and testing center in Accra. The ultra-modern facility is designed to provide world-class training and testing services to support Ghana's growing industrial and energy sectors. Here's more.
Welding booth and 3 digital simulators, the center will train and certify hundreds of welders under the American Welding Society Science Program. Founder and president of DTI, Constance Swanika, says the initiative is part of a long-term vision to build a competent, confident, and globally competitive workforce.
Government-backed programs such as the Scheme for Promotion of Academic and Research Collaboration, impacting research, innovation, and technology, have supported over 100 products and technologies in the past 3 years. These efforts demonstrate how academic institutions can become catalysts for skilled talent and innovation when supported through structured collaboration. Over the past 5 years, DTI has commissioned 2 desktop reviews to better understand the situation and advocate for appropriate policies.
Acting Director of the Nuclear Power Institute, Dr. Archibald Boakofi, emphasized the importance of the facility to Ghana's industrial and energy ambitions.
It marks a turning point in how we train, certify, empower Ghanaian welders to seize opportunities, both locally and globally. Allow me to commend the DTI, in particular its president, Madam Swanika, and the management team for your vision, your leadership, your commitment to excellence. Let me not forget all your hard-working staff who understood and ran along with your vision and made this a reality.
The DTI Welder Training and Testing Center is the first of its kind in Africa, bringing global training standards to Ghana and giving young people access to high-demand technical skills for the future.
And that's all for this segment, but more news on our website, nigeriaonline.com/business. Real anchor of Ghana's currency lies in productivity of its industries, people. Fidelity Bank Deputy MD says also 90% of consumers expect prices of foreign goods to decline. That's according to a Maverick Research survey. Details on myjoyonline.com. That's it for business. Handing you back from the lady who's back from her travel to Tanzania, where she had a lot of fun. I know it wasn't a lot of fun. Plenty work to do observing the elections over there.
Yes. Bringing details of that subsequently. Thank you, Daryl, for
Good
business.
To see you.
Great to see you too. And that's all for Joy News Desk with me, Mami Sinyamiche Thompson. We'll be back tomorrow with more.